Yo, what is going on, everyone? I am back with another small first impressions video. It's actually going to be on my Atlantis Mini that Lamzu was kind enough to send out. I'm also very sorry about how the color looks on my camera for today. I don't normally look this zombie-like in terms of like my skin color, but please just bear with it for this video. And I do mainly just want to talk about a shape comparison between the three mice I feel like it is most similar to, as opposed to doing an entire like small video based solely off of this mouse. I want to mainly talk about this amazing shape that Lamzu was able to pull out. And the two mice I feel like it compares most to is going to be a Cooler Master MM710 and then also the Starlight Small with the Infinity Hump installed. Just going off of the feel in hand for how the Infinity Hump feels, it feels very narrow of a hump. It's still a very aggressive hump, which is really, really nice, and it feels much more filling in palm than the original shape would, but it mostly fills this middle portion of my palm, which is still incredibly good, and in my opinion, the most important part for stability in terms of just claw grip, but it also allows for a lot of maneuverability if you use your fingertips like this and then pull back into your palm for micro adjusting while claw gripping, as opposed to the Lamzu where the entire bottom portion is really filled out. So I feel like it really locks you into an incredibly aggressive claw grip, which isn't bad. I feel like this provides the most amount of stability possible in this grip, although there's not as much freedom as there is on a Starlight 12 with the Infinity Hump. The mouse I feel like it is actually the most similar to is going to be the MM712 purely off of shape. It's a very short mouse with an incredibly high back hump, and then the main difference is the width. The width on the MM712 is much wider than the Atlantis Mini, which is, I feel, why this mouse feels so much larger than the Atlantis Mini does. The other thing, too, is it has a little bit more maneuverability than the Atlantis Mini because it doesn't fill your palm as much. But I always do say that I prefer as much palm filling as I possibly can get within claw grip because I feel like it provides the most amount of stability, especially for someone like me that is very shaky on flicks. Although the back hump is incredibly aggressive, you can honestly get away with fingertip here because I feel like the comfort grooves, especially where the back flare starts, is in such a great place. Even for someone with, honestly, I want to consider my hands average at this point. I feel like I could comfortably fingertip this mouse, especially since it is at an impressive 49 grams. Not to say that you can't do fingertip with any of these other mice. I feel like this mouse is just a little bit better for fingertip because the hump is much lower in the middle part compared to the Atlantis Mini. The main difference is obviously going to be the weight. And talking about the main difference between the Starlight, as you saw the base earlier, you can tell that the Starlight is much flatter on the sides and the back flare is not as wide and aggressive, which is why I feel with the Infinity Hump, this mouse becomes so much more versatile. You're able to micro adjust so freely with your fingertips and just pull it back into your palm. And because it is also a low weight, much like the Atlantis Mini, it's honestly going to be an incredible experience as well. Although the one thing that really lacks on this mouse is really, really nice prominent side curvature, which honestly is kind of a pro and a con. It makes it easier to maneuver, but it does make it a little bit more difficult. You do have to aggressively grip it for claw, even with this amazing Infinity Hump, which is unlike the Atlantis. You can see that when I do this motion, you can see that my fingers are going to be touching the mouse, which I feel is like a small hindrance when using this. So I do kind of just stay in the same grip the entire time with the Atlantis Mini, and it feels incredible. You can tell that I'm kind of just like topping this mouse completely. It's incredibly small. I cannot exaggerate it enough. I don't think anyone is going to be able to comfortably palm grip this unless you have a lot of palm contact with your pad, which honestly just adds a lot of friction. And here, out of all three from the side profile, you can see which one is the tallest. The Atlantis Mini has a much more centralized hump, which I thought was very interesting because at first glance, I always thought the hump was much more towards the rear like the MM712, but it is actually, the peak is actually going to be in the middle, which is why I feel like this mouse is much more versatile than it really is. And then out of all of these mice, you can see that they are very, very short mice as well. And the main difference is obviously going to be the overall quality, Cooler Master coming in last. I would honestly want to say that the Starlight might be second. It's really difficult between these two mice that have overall better quality, in my opinion, mainly because the Atlantis Mini stock skates are so much better, and so is the sensor. But then you are getting these amazingly implemented KO 8.0 switches from Final Mouse as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all for my very short first impressions. I did just want to talk about the two mice that I feel like it's most similar to. It was a really quick video. I've only had the mouse for a couple of days, but this mouse is absolutely amazing. And I would honestly, if I didn't get the Infinity Hump, I would say that these two mice right now are probably tied for my absolute favorite shape for a small claw-focused mouse. But I obviously will have another review out when I get more time in the mouse. Obviously, just a couple of days is not enough to pump out a full-fledged video. I just wanted to get this quickly out to show what mice it compares to and how I feel about it overall. But yeah, that's pretty much all for the video, and hope to see you on the next one. Peace.